Hello, welcome back. Or if you're new here, I'm Gwiggy/Denied, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the most well-known money-making methods in Skyblock, but just seems to be kind of forgotten about, and he's incredibly good. So let's get right into it. The money-making method on about today is Zealot Bruisers/Summoning Eye Farming. As I said, I know it's one of the most well-known money-making methods, but I don't think it's truly known how much money it can still make an hour, and how little it takes to get into. I'm telling you, you can spend 25 mil and you can start making quite good money an hour. Let's get right into it. So I've recently restarted Skyblock. Fresh profile pretty much. Just had a couple mil on it, nothing on it other than that. And I was going that straight headfirst into it. So I was trying to find the most efficient, best money making methods. And as hard as I looked, all I could find were videos of farming, which would make 5 mil an hour, Rift, which supposedly would make 16 mil an hour, but they were only from a couple of months ago and they're already only making 5 to 10 mil an hour, and the setup on that, and it just wasn't worth my time anymore. And that's when I got thinking, what about zealots, or what about summoning guys? So I looked on the bazaar to see the fact they were selling for 1.3 mil per, and that gave me an idea. What if I were to get E-Man 5, unlock a Vorpal Katana, and that way I could kill the Zealot Bruisers and make lots of money? I started off by getting carries. Admittedly, for me these were carries by my friends. However, trust me, if you just grind normal Zealots for 1 to 2 hours, you can earn enough to afford the carries. All it costs is about 10 to 15 mil depending on the carrier, and you should be able to unlock E-Man 5. After that, as I was saying, all you need is a Vorpal Katana, an AOTE, and that's everything. In future, I would always recommend getting an E-Man pet, but because they do have a high price tag, you can get that just after a couple of hours of bruiser farming. That's how much money it makes. So you're looking overall at a setup cost costing, including the pets and carries everything, no more than 80 mil, which can be made back in 5 hours or less, just grinding. So trust me when I say this money making method is worth it. Just before I get right into how much money I made and everything, we're doing this for 5 hours. Let me just go over a few key tips what you'll need before going into it. The first tip I would heavily recommend changing is your sprint key. I had my sprint key on shift like the first 2 or 3 hours, and my pinky was cramping up and I could feel the carpal tunnel kicking in. I don't want carpal tunnel after 10 hours. So what I'd recommend you do is just change it to something really easy to press, something like Q. That's what I had it on. It saves so much finger pain, just trust me on that one. A secondary important tip is to know every time you change lobbies, your odds get reset. So you may or may not know, but after you kill 380 special zealots without an eye, the odds get divided by 2. You have a massive increased odds at getting a summoning eye. But if, let's say, you've already killed 400 zealots, if you change lobbies, they go back to the base chance, which means you have wasted a lot of your time for nothing. Unless you cannot get a single kill, just try sit it out for another 5 minutes, and it'll be worth it rather than completely resetting the chance and moving on to the next lobby. So this is part of the video I know you've been waiting for. Time to talk about the money. Going straight into this, over 5 hours this was done. I managed to get 47 summoning guys, all these in Ender Chest 2 and Backpack 2. All this was from the 5 hours. I kept anything worth of value. So when you look at all this, it can be worth on average around 60 mil. Depending on the prices, they fluctuate up and down a little bit. So easy 60 million just straight off them. The next thing are these Endstone Protectors. These you get every time you have got 100 Zealot kills and the Endstone Protector gets spawned and dies. It may take a little bit, but you'll get one of these in your inventory. If you have the money, I would say it's probably best just to equip these. You'll thank yourself in the future for it. But if you're desperate for any money, you can save them. And over 5 hours, they're worth 2 mil. So it adds up. The next thing are crystal frags. They may not seem like very much in one go. But when you add them up over 5 hours, it's 3.5 mil, which is quite a lot quite quickly. These you can get whenever you kill an Enderman holding an Ender chest. You may think you only get enchanted ender pearls or anything like that, but trust me, it is worth killing them because they have half a decent chance of dropping the crystal frags, and they, as I was saying, do add up quite quickly. After that, a superior dragon fragments. The only dragon I would recommend leaving the bruiser area for are superiors, because as you can see, over 5 hours I only had probably 3 or 4 superior drags, and that was worth 1.6 mil. I wasted hardly any time, and managed to get the equivalent of over an eye. And the last thing I was saving was absolute ender pearls. They don't add up to much, but they do add up. Even just this, 800k. Every bit helps. I thought I may as well save everything and give it a clear view. Now you may be thinking to yourself, if you have any decent math skills, you'd be like, so after all that isn't too much money. And that is kind of correct. It was only 73.7 mil, which still for 5 hours is very good money. But I haven't told you something yet. Because while that makes about 14.5 to 15 mil an hour, there's one more thing. One key thing I've not said, what I'd recommend, and that's Final Destination. If you buy this for about 1 mil a piece, and you level it up with kills as you're going, change absolutely nothing about how you'll kill him, you can sell it at just 10 to 11k kills for 5 mil profit a piece. It may take, for me it took 4.5 hours to get there. I ended up waiting until 5 hours just as way easier maths. I was going to do this and stop at 10k kills, the maths got too bad. I stopped at 5 hours and could sell each piece easily for 6 mil. Maybe could have got a little more. So when you include that, it means I got a total of about 93 mil. Which means, depending on the price of eyes, I made a solid 18 mil an hour. Which, when I remind you, without an Enderman pet, you can still be making 15 mil an hour, and your setup cost is less than 40 mil. That is absolutely insane. No other method makes this much with such little setup cost and such little time cost as well. Because the only thing what takes a long time is getting E-Man 5, and I can guarantee at least half of you watching this already have E-Man 5 and can do this whenever they want. To conclude, with this, and bear in mind, I was doing all this during Aatrox, so my lobbies were absolutely filled with people trying to do Enderman bosses. You could easily make 20 mil an hour if you find a quiet lobby and you keep it for an hour or two. You can make 20 mil an hour without an issue. And I can tell you now, it's worth spending more time trying to find quieter lobbies because it just pays back so much quicker. So with all that being said, I would consider this one of them, if not the best early game money making method. Very little setup cost, very little time cost to get into, and you can just start right up making the big bucks. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like. It really does help me keep motivated to keep making videos and push more good money making methods and all type of videos out to you people. Subscribe if you're new and you did enjoy the video and you want more videos like it. I will be trying to progress through the game as quick as I can with money, and I'm willing to share any tips I find out along the way. So if that's of value to you, make sure you sub and keep around. I do have a Discord in the description, feel free to join there. Once I have more coins back up, I will be doing more small giveaways and such. So just like that, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Till then, see ya.